Alright, so in this video we're going to see how the GTX 970 performs with Gears of War 4. If you haven't seen it already, earlier today I made a video on the 980 Ti's performance with Gears of War 4 and it is pretty damn outstanding. Make sure you go check that video out if you haven't already, linked down in the description below and will be in an annotation at the end of this video. Now as for full setup, I'm running an i7-4790k paired with of course the GTX 970 on 16 gigabytes of RAM. And just like the last test with the 980 Ti, we're going to do this pretty much similar. We're going to use the same scenes that we used in the last video and replay them through with the 970 and see what we come up with. These are early prologue campaign scenes, and from what I've played, these are the most graphically intense scenes going on in the game, where you have a series of huge explosions and stuff and a lot of things going on the screen that will really test your GPU's might. Now, as I said in the last video with the 980 Ti's performance, I cannot use any external analyzer to analyze frame rate and CPU usage due to the fact of Windows DRM and the fact that this game is DirectX 12 anyway. But luckily there is a built-in frame counter in the game, so that will be what is on display in this video, and I will blow it up on the other side of the screen so you guys can see it more clearly than how small it is at the bottom right corner. Now, the GTX 970 has always been known as an excellent option for 1080p gaming, especially when games are optimized well, and that really shines here in Gears of War 4. At 1080p with the Ultra preset, this game is really just surfing through. Smooth as butter, staying well above 60 frames, and hardly ever dipping below that. Just take a look. And as you can see, the 970 is still no slouch when it comes to 1080 gaming. Now, as I said in the last video, the benchmark program that Gears of War 4 comes with does do pretty well, but I feel like it's more suitable towards determining how your game will play during multiplayer rather than campaign, because the campaign tends to be a lot more intense when it comes to scenes and in-your-face shit going on during its sequence. With that being said, we came to an average of 74.8 frames per second with the GTX 970 at 1080p on Ultra preset, which is pretty damn good. Now, I know a GTX 970 won't get you anywhere near 60 frames per second at 1440p with the Ultra preset, but I figured I'd try it at 1440p at least high just to see where it will stack up at. Now, for the scenes that we played through with the 970 at 1440p high preset, it actually did pretty damn good. Holding on tight to around the mid 50s to 60 frames per second, with dips as low as the 40s, and some highs reaching as high as 70. The game really does still look pretty damn good, and you're getting a higher resolution, and not so bad on the frames neither. It further proves that Gears of War 4 is a really good optimized game. The game's recommended cards and stuff are meeting as where they should, making this easily the most well-optimized Windows platform game that I have ever played. And to be honest, it's one of the most well-optimized games of the year. And it's crazy to say that, especially with Gears of War Ultimate Edition, Gears of War 1 Ultimate Edition releasing earlier this year, being one of the worst optimized games at its launch. The Coalition really cleaned up for this one, and they really should be giving themselves a pat on the back for the optimization in this game. Now, to be clear on things, this is running at a scaled 1440p resolution, not native. My monitor is a 1080p monitor, and I'm using the scale feature that's in the game to scale it up to 1440p, as I mentioned in my last video with the 980 Ti. But I forgot this is a new video, so I have to re-mention this again. So before anybody goes crazy in the comment section over the fact that this is running at a scaled resolution, I had to say that and get that out of the way. Now, to conclude things, the GTX 970 running at 1440p scaled at the high preset in Gears of War 4 is averaging just below 60 frames per second with 58.1 frames per second on average during the benchmark. And I gotta say, man, it just further proves that this game is really well optimized. So 970 users, you can rejoice. I'm gonna wrap this video up. This is iDocLife. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, dislike if you dislike the video. This is your world. Do what you want to do. I'm iDocLife and I'm out. Peace. Now you gotta excuse my atrocious gameplay. I was trying to play this game with keyboard and mouse when I usually play it with a controller. I always play Gears with a controller. And that shit is kind of fucking hard. It's hard to wall bounce the way you want to. Your aim is on point, but the wall bounce is just tough as shit. Alright, so what we're seeing from the 1440p